Welcome, everyone, to Influential Leadership Tips. I'm John Hadley.
And I'm Dave Miller. John, I want to talk to you about something and to the viewers about something that is pretty basic, probably heard it before, but it probably warrants a reminder. And I actually fell in this trap the other day. So let me tell you that story. I work on a team on a consulting project, and having a disagreement with someone. There was an email sent out, and we've probably all had this experience. You receive an email and you have kind of an emotional reaction, or something triggers you in that, and because it's email, you tend to just reach for the reply button, right? So I actually forwarded it to someone and copied the person that sent it to me, to get this other person to weigh in on this. And which wasn't bad in itself, but the person did not weigh in. And I talked to him later, and he said, well, I didn't want to get drawn into having an argument over email. And I thought, yeah, you know what? That's really good. I know that. But in the moment, I wanted the expediency of email to handle the situation there instead of waiting for a better time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, has that ever happened to you, first of all, John? Anything like that? Where
Oh yeah, it's so easy when you're dealing with a medium that tends to be immediate or begs for quick response. It's so easy to just get in the mode of I give the quick response. I think back to actually it was a kind of a positive example years ago where on my alumni network, I would post all of these offers for free teleclasses I was doing. I post articles. Built a good reputation. And one time I responded to something, or there was something that I could have responded to, and someone wrote to the entire listserv, gee, I hope this isn't going to be, this isn't going to be another request or invitation for the free teleclass or something like that. And my immediate reaction was to post something defending it. And I paused. I said, let me not react quickly. Let me think about this for a little while. And as I watched, in the next hour, 4 or 5 people wrote responses directly to the entire listserv, to this person saying, you're being a jerk. This guy has been giving so much free stuff to the network. I've been to his teleclass. He did a great job. I was one of his clients. And I said, I don't even need to respond in any way. And probably I think the guy in the first place, he was being tongue-in-cheek about it. He wasn't really serious. But my knee-jerk reaction for defending myself would have been exactly the wrong thing. Instead, I just watched a whole bunch of people basically post testimonials to all the things I'd done. And it was great.
Yeah, well, that's a great story. So let's talk about, and now with texting, we have another medium too.
Mm-hmm.
The problems with those kind of mediums is that there's no tonality in the communication. There's no body language in the communication, which is, the lion's share. It's 93% of communication. All you're left with are words, which can be easily misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't in a real huge emotional state when I forwarded this email, but it could have been taken the wrong way. And it would have been much more productive to have the conversation, which we ended up doing, face to face.
Yeah,
or even by phone. So
yeah, I can think of many examples where there's been a text or someone posted something on Facebook, and I was all set to respond, and it was something that I thought would be kind of funny. And then I kind of looked at what I was writing and thought about how might someone else read this and say, there's a possibility that someone could read this really the wrong way, and this could backfire. And so I just deleted the text before sending it. But it's so easy to do that and have something be misunderstood.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been alluding to one of the strategies here is when you're prompted, when something triggers you for a quick response, the best thing to do is pause.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you write a response, don't send it. give it some time, depending on how emotional it gets. Now, there's some on the extreme where you get really ticked off, you get really frustrated, right? Certainly you want to take a beat on those, right,
Yeah.
before you send them. But I'm even talking about having complex discussions on an issue over email.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a really productive use of email. It's too easy to do email. People can say things that they wouldn't say face-to-face, or in a way they wouldn't say face-to-face. Too much can get misunderstood. So, as a rule, I'd say do not have complex discussions, certainly not emotional discussions over email. Email and text are more for confirming discussions you already have, for documenting things,
Mm-hmm.
not meant to problem solve. And look, I realize there's people that work far apart geographically, they can't, but we do have the phone, okay, which I think is better. We do have Skype for Business, and we have technology where you can put the voice in, you can have a dialogue that can be much more productive. So that's really my tip for today.
And there is a tendency, because email is a quick thing, it's a quick response, there's a tendency not always to read the email as carefully. So when you try to do something more complex through email, it's that much more likely to get misunderstood or misinterpreted, or someone just they don't read the whole thing. They think they've got the point and they respond. So that's another reason why not the vehicle for that.
So you want to avoid those email, text, social media landmines as a leader.
Yes.
So for better communication, more productive communication, that's my tip.
So how would you suggest I, as a listener, implement this?
Don't do it. Avoiding it. So and we've talked about this. I think first of all, be aware of when you're reaching for that mouse, and take a beat. And if it's something really emotional, it may be cathartic to write it out first, but don't send it. Write it out, delete it. But think. I think as you're writing emails, test is, am I trying to problem solve something that's complex or emotional, or that can be easily misunderstood in a written form? Should I pick up the phone instead and then write a confirmation email about what we decided? Is that a better way to go?
Great idea.
That's my tip.
Okay, sounds good.
So look forward to talking to you next week for our next tip.
And until then, be influential.